it was only a couple of years ago. So I'm just here a little bit today to tell you sort of my path, just give you a little bit of inspiration so you can just notice that there are all the different routes that could be ahead of you and just help you along any decisions that you might want to be able to make, really. Yeah, I went to Link Sixth Form, so I was at Chipping Sodbury School at the time, and I did product design. But I'd originally, before then, always been more so into a passion of graphics, doing art and just being really creative and things like that. So I'd always originally wanted to go into maybe a degree in art design or graphic studies. But it wasn't until I chose my A-levels that then I was told that I wasn't able to choose graphic design. That wasn't an option at A-level. So I thought, okay, I'll have a look what else is reasonably similar. And that's when I then chose to study product design. And to be honest, this was one of the best decisions I ever made, because it was something which, I never ever touched, machines before or been hands-on with things. I'd never done that before at school. But yeah, doing product design at Chipping Sodbury was just the best decision that I'd made. It was able to show me sort of the different paths that I could make into coming up with an idea and then choosing on how to make it, really. So I did my Link Sixth Form studying A-levels. I was then, obviously at school, you're always then taught to apply for university, go down that route, things like that. So I applied for UCAS, got offered places at universities. But then I also looked into just other paths that were available to me, really. My brother had previously finished his degree and he did a master's as well, but it was him that more so said to me, look at other paths that are available to you. University is not always the be-all end-all. There are other things that could be available that would be just as good and may offer you even more opportunities, really. So I then just through the paper, and it was through connections at the time as well, that I then were aware of Renishaw Tool. It's an engineering company for precision tooling. So yeah, so I applied for an apprenticeship with them, and I didn't think, to be honest, that I'd hear back. I was a little bit unsure about it. I didn't know if they would ever even be interested. So, but then luckily I applied for it. I went along to 3 entry exams at the time, which was like a mechanics test, maths test, something which I'm not really that confident with because I've already done art and graphics, really. But yeah, I was accepted for the apprenticeship, and then I made the big decision after lots of, unsurety, but then I applied for the apprenticeship and declined my university offer. So everyone at the time at school was saying to me, teachers were basically thought that I was probably going mad, that I declined my university option to go for an apprenticeship, because I did really well at my A-levels. I could have gone straight to university, I could be there now, but obviously I declined it with the apprenticeship. But to be honest, I'm in my second year now, and I definitely wouldn't have looked back. I've made the best decision that I think I could have made, and there's not a second that I go back thinking, oh, what if I'd have been at uni now instead? So yeah, I declined university, now I'm on my second year apprenticeship. So this is just some of the different things that I obviously used connections at the time, but there's now other websites and people that you can talk to get advice from, really. So yeah, I'm here today to slightly tell you a little bit about the apprenticeship. Obviously you earn a wage whilst you're working, which is always a benefit. It's not the decision to make because of that, but it's, it always helps. You receive training whilst you're in the working environment, so you get a lot of experience with being, having a boss, say, and having to start work at a certain time. You get into that role, so the earlier that you start it, it's not so much of a shock then when you do start. You can gain still high qualifications, so I'm hoping I'm still going to achieve my degree level, but obviously just do it through the apprenticeship route. So it's slightly longer than if you go straight to uni, but then you get the benefits that you've got all the work experience behind you, so you don't just come out with a degree and then nothing else. You've got the high qualifications, the work experience, and then at least then when you do apply for another job in the future maybe, you've got all that behind you other than just a certificate to say you've passed the exams. You obviously can work for the well-established company. Always looks good when you apply for another job elsewhere that you've shown that you've had the boss, you've got up at these certain times, you've worked for these hours, you're used to that side of things. And you gain lots of work experience with working in different departments within that company. It's always beneficial if you're still unsure which path you want to take, which I still am now, and I'm still in my second year now. You get to work in just areas of different departments. And always meeting new people and just get plenty of work experience. So yeah, that's all just the different awards that you can pass. You don't have to go straight up to the degree level. You can finish it as a HNC pass or a HND or something like that, really, if you prefer. This is just in particular Renishaw. I don't know if, are any of you interested in any form of design or engineering at all, or are you more so into different areas? Yeah? But yeah, this is Renishaw in particular anyway. It's basically a company of precision tooling. So it was discovered basically by one person who worked for another company and then came up with this amazing idea of the probe for precision tooling, and it measures, it can be used for all different areas within sort of like dental and things like that, really. This is one that, just to give you a bit of an insight, even if you're not interested in engineering, it just gives you an insight into apprenticeships. In my first year, which was last year, I spent it for full-time at college, so you with all other people that from other companies as well, so not just from, I'm from Renishaw myself, there was 10 of us there, but there were people there from other companies, so you mix with loads of different sorts of people. And you do your whole first year at college, so you do your studies and everything like that there, doing an NVQ level 3. And then in your second year, you spend it on placements, so 6-month placements in different departments. So it's a really good idea because if you're not sure where specifically you want to end up in, it shows you an insight into all the different areas that are available. So say on my first 6-monthly placement, I spent it in a machine shop, so that involves working with working on actual machinery tools. I'd never touched a machine before in my life, a milling machine or a CNC machine, but after being there for 6 months, I was trained to be able to operate with machines, set the machines and program them all. So and that's something beforehand, I originally thought I'd never be interested in that sort of thing, to be honest. I'd never done it at school, I'd always been more into art things, so I never thought I would. But it surprised me with how much I've come out of it enjoying it, and now I'm thinking of that as a job prospect as well. And then these are just some of the other different departments that are within Renishaw, just in case you're interested as well. So for instance, in my second placement that I'm on at the moment for 6 months, I'm working also in a design department for test rigs. So if customers come back with different problems that they've got with a part or things like that, I've got to then, come up with ways of how you can improve it. This is obviously they work with dental as well. It's another example of the different departments. And MTP. And that's, for instance, just some of the work that we do. So it shows you what the size of like a human hair is. And we work to sort of different degrees of microns. So obviously you can see the size of a micron there, up to the size of a human hair. So it just shows to what sort of degree of accuracy we work towards. And these are all the different departments as well. But whilst I'm here as well, I'll tell you, obviously I was the Young Inventor Award of 2011. So when I was doing my A-levels at Chippenham Sodbury, I created a coursework project, which was basically, my hobby is cycling in particular, and I wanted to try and keep my coursework involved with my sort of hobby. So after a lot of design ideas and things like that, I created a cycle helmet. It was an automated cycle helmet, which allowed users to be able to, it's got a red light at the back, which then signals on the helmet to be able to show where you are in the night, especially for younger children who are maybe learning to ride, gives them more confidence. And it's got 2 amber LEDs on either side. So if you tap the left-hand side of the helmet, it signals an amber beacon to show if you're turning left, and same for on the right. So it's a relatively, when you think about it, simple idea, but it's something which really wasn't available at the time. And it's got different functions on it for different children if they've got disabilities and things like that. So that one idea then, I entered into Rotary Club competitions, just the local competitions in my area, and then I won the first prize award for that. And then I sort of went on to other competitions, and then went on to Mazak, UK, which was then it's at Yamazaki in Worcester. And then I won the Young Inventor Award there as well, where you get to meet just those different engineers from different companies. And then also I then went to the Big Bang National Science Fair in London. This in particular was incredible because I met Professor Brian Cox, and I was there for it's 5 days in total, where I basically was spent meeting all different people from around the UK who had developed, it wasn't just engineering, there was art subjects, maths, all different sciences and everything, so it was really good because you're mixed with people from all different interests, you get to meet people from all around the UK that've got different products, and it's a really good experience, and not just the students, you get to be able to meet people, just all different, in my sort of company, obviously you meet different engineers that are there and all that, so it's just really good to gain contacts and be able to know then in the future if you've got different problems which they specialise in, it's really good. And it was here that I won it's a bit of a mouthful, but the Worshipful Scientific Instrument Makers Young Engineer Award. Yeah, it's, like I said, a bit of a mouthful. But basically this allowed me to win this trophy, which has got parts of the Jensen Button's F1 car and the Concorde. So obviously very fragile, so I was carrying that around with me. And as well as winning that, it gave me just over a week trip to Los Angeles, California. So obviously when they called my name out on the stage, I didn't think I was going to win anything whatsoever. At the time, I actually had loads of things on my lap ready to leave London, and my name was called out, and I sort of had to chuck everything to my brother sat next to me, go up on stage, and I didn't have a clue whilst I was walking up, I was so nervous. I didn't even hear their name, I didn't even hear them say that the prize was to go to LA. So at the time I was on stage saying thank you, I sat me down, my brother turned to me and said, can't believe you're going to America. I went, what? I didn't even know. So it was a bit sort of, I was so nervous and so overwhelmed. And then I had it's about 6 weeks in total that you have to prepare. You have to develop a product, so obviously mine in the Cyber Helmet. I had to then just develop it for 6 weeks to be able to come up with improvements with it. So in particular then it was the support that I gained from, I was then in my first year of my apprenticeship, and I was obviously working then for Renishaw as well. So the support that they offered me then to improve that was incredible. I had the support of my own company that then realised what I was doing. They backed me up completely. I went to different departments within Renishaw. They got all engineers to help me get involved using the machinery there. Machinery that I'd not beforehand been trained to use. They just literally stopped all their time to be able to help me out, improve my product. And it was incredible the amount of support I have from different designers and engineers. And in those 6 weeks, after a lot of stress and everything like that, and after a lot of help, I then was packing off to go to America. You can imagine it's a massive suitcase, or 2 suitcases full of electricals and helmets. Wasn't exactly the best to go through security to go to America, but after a lot of aggro, I was then able to obviously go. And yeah, so I was in there for just over a week, and it was 1,600 competitors from all around the world. So you meet people literally from just places which you've never even heard of, to be honest. There was people from one side of me, from one side of the world, and it was just absolutely incredible to be able to see the variety of different things that are going on. And then it made me then also realise and respect that I was so pleased with what I was doing when I told people that I was doing this apprenticeship. I just felt proud because there are people there that have got so many different upbringings, and it just makes you really appreciate for what you're giving. And yeah, so that was a week-long trip in America that I spent, and you meet engineers from all around the world. I met just so many people that were flying in on their private jets, and I was in America there. Somebody came up to me and sort of shook my hand and said, oh, he was just sort of chatting to me like that. I thought he was just a father or something of one of the other students. And I was just saying, thank you, just talk a bit casually because I knew I wasn't being judged or anything. And then those American girls came up to me after, oh my God, I didn't know that you knew him or something like that. And turns out he was an amazing physicist over there that was apparently really, really popular, and I didn't have a clue who he was. But yeah, it was incredible, really, just a great experience. And like I said, I just had lots of support over there. I also then met up with the American correspondent for Renishaw whilst I was out there, who just sort of, checked on to see how I was doing. And it's just that sort of support which you'll be able to gain from the apprenticeship as well, that it always feels that you've got that help there if you need it. So even whilst you're not working at the place of department, when you're off doing your courses or university, you've always got that background knowing that you can always contact them if there's any help that you needed, or if there's a subject that whilst you're at university, say you were struggling on a certain part of maths or something like that, there was an equation you couldn't understand, whereas if you're have to try to find your own help, really, it's brilliant because there are people that, whilst you're on the apprenticeship, there are people within the company which they've been there, done that years ago, so they're sort of amazing at that side of things. You know the people who to contact if you need any help or anything like that. So yeah, that was incredible, and that's basically my story of what I did. Obviously declined university, did the apprenticeship, and all the competitions as well, which I did whilst all that struggling time. And yeah, so that's my story basically. Didn't know if anyone had any questions at all, or no? What are you in your second year of the first year or sixth year?
First year.
First year, sixth year. So if you know what you want to do yet, or
Kind of.
what do you want to do?
Law or translation.
Oh yeah. Where are you hoping to do that to then?
London, hopefully.
Yeah.
But grades are a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
You need to get really good grades.
Okay,
But
yeah.
yeah.
I think the most important thing I could probably say is advice. Is just be able to get as much advice as possible. Don't go for what necessarily your parents think or what your teachers think. Just go for what you would imagine is going to be the next few years down the line that you're going to be at this place of uni or work or whatever you decide to do. So the last thing you want to do, I know certain friends that have gone to university and then in their first year they realised they only done it really because they thought that was the next path to do. They didn't really know what job they wanted to do. They'd just done that subject, and then they ended up having to drop out and then apply again for another course. So if you do go to university or apprenticeship or work, just make sure that you definitely know that in the next few years down the line you want to still be sticking out with it, and that's my best advice really. So yeah, any questions at all or no?
What are you hoping to do after you finish your apprenticeship?
I'm hoping to take it basically as far as I can go. The good thing about it is obviously when you go to uni, you have to, if you drop out halfway through, you come out with nothing. Whereas here, obviously, you do it in stages. So you do a H&C, and then you can finish if you want after the H&C, or then a H&D, or then to complete it, do the full degree. So I'm hoping to take it as far as I can go with the full degree and be able to just gain as much experience in the different placements as I can. And at the moment, I'm hoping to go into some sort of like design or a PD department, so product development, so that I can just be able to. The last thing I want to do is be stuck on a computer and not getting out and doing things. I want to be able to meet customers and be able to show different ideas. So I'm hoping to be able to carry on with Renishaw as far as I can, and hopefully find which area I prefer to specialise into, and then go into that path really. But just like I said, the best thing in the world is just gaining as much experience as possible. So, yeah. Anything else at all? No? Okay. Thank you very much anyway.